This episode of Snug Wrestling is sponsored by Aquila, and I'm Mr. Blood. Let me tell you about this thing. If you're tired of flimsy sunglasses that look the same as everyone else's, check out Aquila. These are handcrafted, limited-run shades straight out of Los Angeles, made from 50% recycled materials like plant-based cellulose, acetate, and titanium. They've got UV-blocking sun lenses, blue light options, and even prescription lenses, all built to last and look clean. Plus, Aquila is serious about sustainability. They're a member of the nonprofit organization 1% for the Planet. And that means 1% of every sale is donated to reputable environmental organizations around the globe. Because you listen to Snug Wrestling, you get an exclusive 10% off any order with the code SNUG at checkout. Full transparency, when you use that code, we earn a small commission, but it helps keep the show rolling, and you get top-tier eyewear in return. So go to aquila.la and level up your look responsibly. Again, use code SNUG, S-N-U-G, at checkout for 10% off Aquila at aquila.la. And if you're in the market for some awesome wrestling merch and want to support your favorite podcast, Snug Wrestling, check out tpublic.com/snugwrestling.com or click the links in the Apple and Spotify bios. We have 21 and counting new designs for you to wear and support your favorite wrestling podcast by checking out all of our wrestling merch.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Snug Wrestling Podcast. My name is Edgar. I'm the host, and like always, it is time for the post Monday Night Raw review with the Snug Wrestling Crew. I got Mr. Blood, I got Tommy here, and god damn, man, they were in Madison Square Garden tonight for Monday Night Raw, and man, they did not hold back tonight on this episode of Raw. Like, this Raw show on Monday has just been the superior show every week compared to SmackDown. And they proved it once again, man, because, you know, they're on the road to Survivor Series. They're in New York. This was CENA'S last Monday Night Raw ever, you know, before his big retirement. And they had all kinds of stars showing up, returns, surprises, title changes. God damn, this fucking show was... It was a madhouse tonight, y'all. What did you guys think about the show before we get into all the details?
Honestly, probably the best Raw of the last month. I really enjoyed it. This was an extremely solid show. I think largely in part due to how hot the crowd was for the majority of it. And they started out like on fire for the opener, which we're about to get into. So that really kept me invested through the majority of the evening. Just a great crowd, and it's Madison Square Garden, and it's New York, and that's an extremely vocal crowd, a massive wrestling city. Contrary to popular belief, Madison Square Garden and WWE go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly, especially for the last 40 years. And honestly, from top to bottom, I don't think I have a complaint about any of the matches at all tonight, except one little nitpick that we'll get into about who I wish would have won a specific match. But other than that, this was an extremely solid show. The opener, amazing. And the closer, again, what more can you ask for? So, yeah, this is a great show.
Unfortunately, due to personal stuff, I was not able to watch the full thing. The majority of what I will be saying will be through what you two say about the show and through clips that I've seen. But for the stuff that I have seen, I may be more in depth about it. But overall, for the clips and everything that I've seen, it really was a way better show than normal.
Damn, that's crazy. Out of all the fucking shows, you never miss a goddamn show, Tommy. And out of all of them, this one was the one where you couldn't fucking enjoy it through and through, man. That's crazy. But yeah, let's get into it, y'all. It's only right that we get started with the man himself. The last time is now, John Cena. And I'm not crying, bro. You're crying. Because this is the last time, the last entrance that we're going to see by Cena in a WWE arena at Madison Square Garden on Monday Night Raw. the last time he wrestles. And it's coming down to an end, man. It's getting real, man. Reality is setting when it comes to John Cena and all his fans, but he came out and it felt like he was going to cut a really heartfelt promo and have a big moment with the fans in New York. And oh my God, people are just cheering his name and, just throwing the babies in the air for John Cena, our hero. And then out comes Dirty Dominic Mysterio to ruin the party. Nay, to make the party a lot better, I'd say. But perfect timing for some, or not. The worst timing, Dominic Mysterio gets massive boos coming out for interrupting John Cena. And, Dom is like, I want my rematch. I want to get my Intercontinental Championship back. And Cena was like, all right, shoot. Hey, we're in Madison Square Garden. I told everyone I was going to have a match. Let's do it right now. But nope, Dominic was like, no. We're going to do things my way. You had home field advantage last week when you beat me. So on my rematch, I want to have home field advantage. So at Survivor Series in San Diego, you're going to give me my rematch. And John Cena accepted. And that's going to be amazing. And then things got crazy. Things got chaotic. We had this whole thing set up the match for Survivor Series and also set up a 6-man tag team match between Cena, Sheamus, a returning Rey Mysterio versus the Judgment Day, y'all. What a way to kick off the show, man. What'd y'all think?
Yeah, again, like I said when we started the show here, crowd was on fire from the opening 2-3 seconds after the opening video package of how Cena beat Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship last week. And they were absolutely just explosive tonight. It took 12 minutes from John Cena's opening video package of how he won to his entrance to when he started talking and to when Dominic Mysterio interrupted. It was 12 minutes and the crowd was hot the entire time. Dom coming out, I liked it, but I didn't, because there was that part of me that really, really wanted to hear what Cena had to say for his last time on Raw. And I was really leaning forward because I was like, man, this is the last time he's going to maybe share some memories or his sentiments about how important Raw is to him. And then Dom comes out and gets some mega heat on himself. And Cena was like, I'm not, I ain't no bitch. You want this rematch? You got it. Let's get a rev. Let's do this shit right now, because my boy John Cena is always going to be a fighting champion. And Dominic Mysterio tucks his tails between his legs and goes, oh, no. We did it on your terms last time with management on your side and in your city. And now we're going to do it on mine. And we're going to do it in my backyard of San Diego at Survivor Series. So we're getting the match a lot of us had originally believed we were getting, because the original reports was that it was rumored several weeks ago that John Cena was going to have a match at Survivor Series. A lot of people assumed or picked the details out of the reports that it would be against Dominic Mysterio for the IC title. And then we kind of got swerved last week where that title match happened way sooner than we thought, got a title change, and now they're having the rematch at Survivor Series. So now we got to wait for predictions next week's, folks, on the 26th on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, here on Apple and Spotify for our predictions for Survivor Series to figure out which way we're swinging for that match, because now I honestly don't know who's going to win it, because we got a rematch announced a week after the damn title switch. But I liked it. Love that Rey and Sheamus came out to get involved, because those are two people John Cena's had history with. And I love that it was basically the veterans, right? Aside from Randy, the oldest veterans on Raw from back when Cena was still in the top of his game, came out and had his back in that match. And we'll get into the match in a second, but man, it was a good opener, a great way to kick off Raw, because the crowd just ate it up, and so did I.
Dom coming out was not a surprise whatsoever. We had a feeling like this man was going to want a rematch for that IC title. But I love the fact that he's like, hey, no. Last week, it was on your terms, your everything. This time, it's on mine. My home turf, my fans in my home turf, everything else. My time. And that's honestly what I loved about this because of that. And I do also love the fact that it was Sheamus who came out first. And then I'm like, okay, so we've got 3-on-2. What's next? And then Ray comes out. I'm like, let's go. 2 basically locker room leaders on the same team. And Sheamus. But still, this match setup was perfect with the way it happened.
Yeah, and this was one of those matches where like usually like I watch the match and like analyze the spots and go over like what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, like oh, they could have done this move instead of that to make it look better or whatever, I just to like break it down and criticize things like, oh, I would like to see this. And for this match, I didn't do that. I just watched it and this is something that I feel like I haven't done in a really long time, and actually just watched it without even thinking about anything and just watching it just to watch it and enjoy it, and man, because it's Ray, it's Sheamus, it's Cena, it's Dom, Finn Balor, who's also a fucking veteran, JD Madonna, who's like just getting better and better every week. So like I just wanted to just chill and watch this match, and I did, man. John Cena, he got the pin, which was I thought was a great moment because it's his final match at Madison Square Garden for a Monday Night Raw. For a second there, I was thinking, man, it would be crazy if like JD Madonna got to pin John Cena on his final match at Madison Square Garden or so. But nah, it makes a lot of sense that John Cena would get the pin for his team. They won. But the other crazy thing about this too is like Dominic Mysterio is going to be in the ring wrestling John Cena 3 times in this farewell tour, which to me I thought that was pretty interesting because I don't think anyone else wrestled John Cena more than that in this retirement tour thing that they're doing. So I thought that was really cool, man. This everything about this was such feel good moment. And even Sheamus snuck a little homage in there during commercial break to Cesaro, where he spun Dominic Mysterio around and he even did the Cesaro punches in the air, which I thought was fitting for it being Cena's final match. I'm pretty sure Cesaro, he wished he could have been there or whatever. So I thought, yeah, man, this was great, man. Everything.
Yeah, Cesaro, now known as Claudio Castagnoli, he did those the Gatling chugs that used to be on like warships. But watching this match, I'm echoing that sentiment because I felt like I was watching what would have been a babyface main event team in 2010. Like it's the top guys of the Raw brand in a main event right ahead of a PLE against the heels of the main brand. It's like straight out of 2010. And except for the fact that Sheamus is a baby facer and he was a heel then. But it just feels like that, It was a really great match, a lot of fun. Crowd was way into it, gave it "This is awesome" chants. Particular moment that stuck out to me was John Cena on the ground getting hit by a freaking JD McDonough's moonsault, then the coup de grace, then the freaking frog splash, and I was like, damn. I was like, they made my boys sit there and take every single finish on the other team, all back to back to back. And I was like, there's no way they're going to let him Super Cena his way out of that. That's just overkill. And then, Ray and Sheamus just dogged in and freaking broke it up. I was like, okay, good. That makes sense because holy shit. But the match top to bottom it was a lot of fun, very feel good for all the right reasons, because these are three legends that were all full-time top acts at the same time, 10, 15, or sorry, God, no, 15 years ago. And it's really great to see. It's also great that the Judgment Day gets to have a high profile match against three, in my opinion, top guys who have, even though you can say Sheamus is in the mid card, Sheamus to me has been in the top guy category for years. I don't care where he is in the card. He's a multi-time WWE champion, freaking, I believe a Money in the Bank winner. He's a former world champion, United States champion, or hasn't won the IC title yet, but multi-time tag champion. The guy has done it all. Royal Rumble winner, King of the Ring winner. So, and Rey Mysterio is fucking Rey Mysterio, for Christ's sakes. Enough said. And then John Cena, again, enough said. So it was awesome. It was really fucking cool, because I know that we weren't going to get to see these guys in the ring with him one-on-one in this farewell tour. So it was nice to see them side by side. And that closing shot on the ramp where Cena, they kept focusing on the crowd above the Tron tonight. And then they turned around together and they all did their individual, taunts and walked out together, with their arms slung around each other. And it just felt right. It was awesome.
It really did feel awesome. But honestly, there was one thing that, Blood, I'm surprised you didn't mention. And it was that 15 knuckle shuffle. Right before that happened, Sheamus looked at Cena and said, "No, I'm going to switch with you. You get Finn, I get JD McDonough." I absolutely love that, because it's just like, hey, I get, like, you are not the one five knuckle shuffling the fellow Irishman. I'm going to do it. So I love the fact that happened, but this entire match was absolutely fresh, chef's kiss. It was absolutely perfect top to bottom. Blood, as you said, we knew that Sheamus and Cena would not go one-on-one. It just wasn't going to happen as much as we all wanted it to. But they did get to wrestle side by side, and that itself was like the perfect little thing that we needed as a nod to the both of them going one-on-one a fuck ton.
I would like to mention that I think this is the most amount of Irishmen I've ever seen in a WWE ring at one time in the same match. JD, Finn, and Sheamus. And then you throw in a Mexican American, and then there's John Cena. I was like, geez, man. I was like, I've almost forgot just how many people we have from like Ireland in the WWE nowadays, because people forget that Sheamus was kind of the pioneer for that. He was he wasn't. Let me rephrase that, because Finn Finlay deserves his fucking flowers. But Sheamus was the first ever Irish-born world champion. So it's just really cool again. I think it was an awesome way to open the show, and because we're never going to get to see it like that again.
Absolutely. And then we go on to, we were supposed to have a promo segment from the World Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer, but that didn't happen, unfortunately, because she was attacked once again by Nikki Bella. And okay, so this is a sneak attack on the ramp during the entrance where Nikki Bella hits Stephanie Vaquer one time in the back, and then completely takes out the world champion Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer doesn't fight back, doesn't do nothing. Nikki Bella grabs her by the hair and cuts a promo on her while she's still selling on the floor, talking about, I don't even know what the fuck she said, because it was just so fucking boring. Her promos are so uninteresting, and just, it was something about, you will give me a world championship title match at Survivor Series, but just in a very slow and monotone fucking voice that just made my ears bleed, if I'm being honest. And we didn't get to hear from Stephanie Vaquera, which I was actually really looking forward to hear what she had to say. But yeah, we got a match set up. Stephanie Vaquera versus Nikki Bella at Survivor Series, y'all.
It's hard for me to complain about this because as eye gouging as I find it, at least it was quick. Like, because it could have dragged on in the in-ring segment, a whole promo. We would have to sit through entrances, listen to Nikki's fucking reasoning for turning on her at nauseum and length, and then maybe even get a backstage segment we would have had to sit through too. So if they were going to do it, I can't complain that they took me out of the misery in under 3 minutes. That being said, I'm also not going to complain here. As much as I can't stand Nikki Bella, as vocal as I have been about being just like, why the fuck are you here? I can't stand Nikki Bella as a character at all. I have no problem with the woman who plays her, but character-wise, I can't stand the character Nikki Bella. Holding her hair, stating, "What'd you think? I did not come back here to be your sidekick or be a cheerleader for you. I came back to take what's mine, this division." Yada yada. And I'm just like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah.
Your division. You might have been the women's champion while you were at the top of your game, bitch, but that division belonged to AJ Lee for many years. Okay, let's not step on ceremony here. Okay, bitch, please, because as far as it's concerned, Nikki is, and I will say this, Nikki is a high-profile deal. I said it. I almost threw up in my mouth, but it's true. I am glad they are not having Stephanie get some filler bullshit feud like we were afraid they were setting up, they were going to give her with Roxanne Perez and Raquel, and we thought they were going to give her some filler bullshit holding their breath until Liv got back, but we already know Liv ain't going for the world title the moment she gets back. Liv is going straight for Roxanne's ass. And as far as it goes, I'm glad that if they are going to have Stephanie have her first title, first real good title match and first like real feud be something, at least it's against someone, and I hate the way I'm about to phrase this. I don't mean it the way that I'm saying it. The caliber of Nikki Bella is not, I didn't mean that in like, Nikki, you ain't no Charlotte. Okay, I mean the name Nikki Bella, as much as I must hate it, I have to give credit where credit is due. That name does carry weight and it does mean something in professional wrestling in the women's division. And rightly or wrongly, however you feel about Nikki, you have to admit that is a Hall of Famer you're talking about. That is a former women's champion you're talking about, a record-breaking women's champion at one point. That is someone who was the face of the division for a length of time. Okay, so for Stephanie to have her first match be against someone, I'm glad it's not some bullshit filler feud. It's at least with someone that WWE believes makes a marquee match out of it. And it's good for Stephanie, so I'm fine with it.
Ugh, I hate it when you're right, Mr. Blood, but
I know. I hate it when I'm right too.
When you put it that way, it's just like, stop making sense, dog. Stop making sense. Tommy, what about you?
As much as I hate Nikki Bella from the bottom of my fucking soul, everything that Blood just said is unfortunately true. Although her flat out saying, "Hey, I'm the one who pioneered the women's division."
Yeah,
girl, I can name 15 to 20 fucking women that have done that more than you. Easily. What the fuck was that wording? But we are getting this match at Survivor Series. That's something that's going to happen. You're going to have to wait until we do our predictions to hear which side we're on that. But I will absolutely agree that thank God that they ended this as quickly as it fucking started.
So earlier, if you guys weren't feeling like we were in fucking 2012 again during the opening match when it was Ray versus, and Sheamus and Cena in the same ring together once again, Solo Sikoa's mystery opponent was a returning Dolph Ziggler. And I saw a few reports that were going around before Raw. They were like, oh, this person is backstage on Raw. This person is backstage on Raw. And all these people are backstage at Raw. And I'm like, well, it's Madison Square Garden. If Dolph Ziggler is there, well, I mean, he's part of TNA. Maybe he's just hanging out, saying what's up to people. I don't know. But I didn't think Dolph Ziggler was going to show up to have a fucking wrestling match on WWE TV and fucking... I don't know how long it's been, man, but it was so cool to see him for so many reasons. When we talk about, I feel like we've talked about him before a few times here recently, because he's like the blueprint when it comes to one of the best sellers. When you think of someone like a Shawn Michaels or someone who really makes other talent look really good, and his ability to move in the ring and, his timing and everything. The one of the first names people think of is Dolph Ziggler. Like, we've compared JD Madonna to Dolph Ziggler a lot. Oh, he reminds me of Dolph Ziggler, And we got to see the real Dolph Ziggler back on WWE TV, and I was like, man, this is great, man, because he's gonna make Solo Sikoa look amazing. Dolph Ziggler is gonna bump like crazy for Solo. It's going to be a dope match. And honestly, Solo needs it. Solo needs all the help he can get right now to look like a threat, to look like a badass, because I feel even though he's the leader of a big faction, he's kind of been missing that part a little bit in his matches, I feel like. So yeah, another enjoyable match here. Dolph Ziggler versus fucking Solo Sikoa. I mean, I don't even know what year we're living in anymore, fellas.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it a buck. Solo has not had any edge since a month after WrestleMania 40. When they started throwing that comedy shit into his character to give him more quote unquote depth, they ruined what made Solo cool in the first place, which was the mysterious, silent, the silent like enforcer thing that he was, where it was like, because what they tell you, it's not the loud mouth shooting off his mouth that says he's going to pop you one or take you down. It's the quiet guy in the corner standing there, not talking or moving, just watching the room that you got to watch out for. And and Solo used to have that aura, that mystery, that mystique to him. 2 years ago, bruh, Solo was the shit, bro. He was amazing. And in his own way, he is still amazing. But the comedy shit fucking ripped so much credibility out of him. And having him eat as many losses as they have had him eat in the last year took a lot of credibility out of him. Storytelling be damned sometimes. You can't tell me this guy's a threat if he can't buy a win. When he was the fucking US champion, he couldn't buy a fucking win. And he couldn't do it without help. So he got the win here in a match with a returning Dolph Ziggler who looked, and by the way, the fact they had him come out as Dolph Ziggler, not Nick Nemeth, was crazy to me. The fact that they had Zack Ryder come out as Zack Ryder and not Matt Cardona, crazy to me, because the reports say that Zack Ryder was a one-off. And when it comes to Dolph Ziggler being here, he's Nick Nemeth on TNA. So I'm surprised, even with their partnership with TNA, I'm surprised they're breaking the fourth wall here. And they're like, oh yeah, but when he's in our ring, we call him what we own. When he's in your ring, you call him whatever the fuck you want to call him. But that's his name. Who cares?
Dude, I don't remember if we talked about this, but when Matt Cardona was on NXT literally a month ago, and
they
then
called
he
him Matt Cardona.
As Matt Cardona.
We did talk about this.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me. But, to hearken to what you said before, where you're like, we compare a lot of people to Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph's like, a lot of people compare him to Shawn Michaels. I said this, I believe, either last Monday or on our Thursday night or whatever it was. I said that every generation, even if you don't like being compared, you always want to be the first you, right? You never want to be the next that guy. You want to be you. But when a generation looks a certain way, every generation has someone that is kind of carrying the torch from someone of that previous generation. Like I had said, Dominic was carrying it for Eddie. Rhea carries it for China. Seth Rollins carries it for Triple H. Roman Reigns carries it for The Rock. John Cena carries it from Stone Cold, and Cody carries it from Hulk Hogan. So on and things like that. There are mirrors of each other. Well, when you look at Dolph, he is, in my opinion, and always has been the Shawn Michaels of his generation. They may not have given him the push that he deserved. By the way, and I say deserved because he earned the right to deserve it, especially back in the early 2010s, where he was working his ass off. And he was working his ass off around people in circles. So it's so great to see him here. And this is the one nitpick I had of the show. I understand needing to keep Solo strong. I understand that he's a guy that's actually contracted to you, and he's the leader of a faction. But of all the times to not put TNA over, you won't do it when Solo has been a guy you have fucking half buried for the better part of a year. But a guy who worked for you for 2 decades, who was a world champion in your company, a world champion in the company he currently works for, you couldn't let TNA get over once? Just let him win in a ring he used to win in all the time? Come on. That was my only nitpick. I feel like Dolph should have won. It would have been great to see TNA advance in a WWE tournament, because if you have a partnership, why can't you let TNA look good on your TV? They look great in the ring, but why can't you let them score a win? Because every time TNA comes over to WWE, they will not let the WWE guys put them over. Case in point, WrestleMania, Randy Orton and Joe Hendry. Then you got Nick, Dolph Ziggler over here losing to freaking tonight to Solo. Matt Cardona losing on NXT. Like, why can't you let TNA get over once? And it's not like you're putting over just anybody. This is a former fucking world heavyweight champion in your company that people know. So other than that, the match was great. I loved it. I just wish they would have given Dolph and TNA a little bit more shine.
The match itself, great. The selling god has returned for one night. I have a problem, not with the match itself, but how the tournament is set up. You made this massive deal of people from Raw, people from SmackDown, people from NXT, and maybe people who don't even work here. You made a massive deal about that. But yet, only 2 people out of 16 competitors for this tournament are the people that don't even work here. Only 2 of them. That being Matt Cardona and Nick Nemeth. Those are the only 2 that are not from the WWE brand itself. That is the only problem that I have with this tournament and the way it's currently set up. All of the WWE people are going on, and then these 2 just get the short end of the stick. So the match itself, great. His selling, fantastic. I do also wish that Dolph Ziggler would have moved on. But, hey, here we are. I'm still a little bit upset, though, that only 2 out of the 16 are from TNA instead of them evening it out 4-4-4-4. But, hey, there's nothing we can do about it now.
I will say that is the best sell of Solo's Samoan Spike I've ever seen. And
yeah, that was awesome.
Of course it is, because it's Dolph. Put some fucking respect on his name, Ziggler.
Yeah.
Man's in his 40s. He fucking sells like a 20-year-old, and that's amazing. Hats off to you, Dolph. We fucking love you here. And by the way,
dude,
when I was a pro wrestler and I started getting into pro wrestling shape, I legit was trying to copy Dolph Ziggler's workout regimen for 8 months. I ate like he talked about in a magazine. I tried to work out and carve my physique the way he did because I was obsessed with his physique when I started. That's why I love Dolph so much. I spent so much time studying his body and his eating habits and his diet. I was obsessed with his overall presentation. I'm a huge Dolph fan. And one more time from Snug Wrestling, if he ever hears this, yo, you have got a massive set of friends and fans here in the podcast. If you ever want to come on for any reason, know you're on Busted Open, but we'd like to have you over here, to hang out with the Snug crew.
Yeah, dude, I ran into him in Las Vegas when I was at WrestleMania, and he was like, I think he was like leaving the hotel because he was like carrying around his luggage, and he was like on his phone looking down, like, and he looked really serious, and he didn't look like he wanted to be bothered. So I was just like, "Hey, Dolph." Like, I forgot his real name for a second, so I called him Dolph, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I shouldn't have called him that. He's not Dolph anymore." And he just looked up. He was just like, "Hey, man," and then he just kept walking. I was like, "Oh." Dolph said, "What's up?" So that was cool. I wish I would have gotten a picture with him now even more, but hey, oh well. But yeah, when it comes to like the whole name thing, I think, there were some people that were saying, oh, the WWE brought him back as their old gimmicks because that's what people recognize him for. People don't really know who Matt Cardona or Dolph Ziggler is or whatever, right? And maybe that could be true. I doubt it. It's a possibility. But one of the things I noticed that after the Zack Ryder return is that WWE started selling a bunch of his merch. And I'm pretty sure they're going to do the same thing with Dolph Ziggler. And I'm pretty sure that WWE doesn't own the name Matt Cardona or Nick Nemeth. Therefore, they cannot sell merch under that name, but at least without giving them more money for it. So I think they're like, well, we'll put you on our show, but you got to come back as our name that we own so we can sell your shit.
But I think that works though, because I noticed that for everybody from TNA who has popped over in WWE, they've had merch put up in the store in some form or another. And I believe that that they're getting a cut of their proceeds, because I think that because this working relationship with TNA is it's such a lucrative thing for all of them. I think that because WWE is essentially, they're doing all the actual selling of the merch and everything, that TNA is like, well, so long as our guys get a cut of that merch, we can. And so I'm sure that they're getting it back in the back end. And because there's, God, 1,000 times the fans of WWE that there are TNA in the world that are also TNA fans who would probably love some fresh WWE styled merch of their favorite TNA guys that they remember loving in WWE. It's probably just great for everybody involved, man. I'm sure the WWE is splitting those proceeds with TNA and with the guys. And if that's just more money in the boys' pockets, shit, man, I'm all for that.
Yeah, and one last thing, when it comes to this match, well, actually, I wanted to talk more about the rankings of the tournament, but we have one more first round match for the tournament to go over here in a bit, so I'll save it for the next match. So let's move on for now. Let's go over to the women's War Games situation with Charlotte and Alexa and the Kabuki Warriors and all of that mess that we saw go down on Friday Night SmackDown, right? Where Charlotte was like, nah, I don't want anything to do with this team. So Alexa Bliss comes out and she's pissed, right? And this is one of the things where I got kind of frustrated with the fans, because Alexa Bliss, as much as I've, criticized her in-ring work or whatever, her size, blah, 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 she can cut a decent promo. I was kind of interested to hear what she was going to say. And the fans kept trying to hijack the promo with the what chants and da-da-da-da. Alexa tried to be serious and she was trying to be convincing, and it kind of got ruined a little bit by the fans. But then out came the four heels: Nia, Lash, Kabuki Warriors, and then we get a save from Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. And the big question was, is Charlotte Flair going to come out to save her old best friend, how Alexa Bliss likes to put it? And she did. So I think it's safe to say that Charlotte Flair is in fact going to be a part of the babyface women's War Games team.
Yeah, man, I'm going to echo that sentiment because I know I said that my only nitpick was that Dolph didn't win. I was really, man, the whole promo, I was annoyed as shit at the fans. I thought, this is the one segment you want to be quiet about? You don't, like, even though the fans were hijacking it, they weren't reacting for shit. They barely reacted to the brawl. They barely reacted to Charlotte coming out. I mean, they reacted to her after she was whipping their asses with the kendo stick, but they were like almost dead silent through the majority of the ass whooping. They waited till after she got them out of the ring, and then they gave like a light uproar. I was like, what the fuck are we doing, fans? You have Rhea Ripley, Charlotte fucking Flair, Alexa fucking Bliss, all in the same ring together on a team, and Io Sky. And you can't muster up some respect for these ladies? I was annoyed. Aside from the fans hijacking, I was more aggravated they were quiet. And people be like, well, this whole thing's thrown together. No one gives a fuck. Oh, it's all lackluster. They just put all the women in the same. Fuck you. Pay attention to your programming. If you've been watching every week, you'd know that this War Game story started back where the Kabuki Warriors turned on Io and Rhea was the one sticking up for her. That's where this story really started over 2.5 fucking months ago. So don't act like they just threw this shit together. Also, there's only one set of women's tag titles. So the moment that the tag titles were on the line, okay, on Raw a couple weeks ago, then the story is what wrapped them all together, but their storylines crossed over. So it's not like they just made it happen. They were always going to interact when we were talking about tag teams here. Teams of Rhea and Io, teams of the Kabuki Warriors, teams of Nia and Lash Legend, and teams of your women's tag team champions, Charlotte and Alexa. It made fucking sense. So I don't want to hear people talking about, oh, it's just thrown together this and thrown together that. They've been building this shit for months. Just pay attention and you would have figured that part out. You would have picked up the clues. It's not hard. I would just add, because Alexa Bliss will always be a fan favorite, always be a crowd favorite. They loved her when she was Little Miss Bliss, and they fell in love with her because of Bray even more. And then when Bray passed, she was carrying on that torch for Bray, and they loved her even more. She goes out there and cuts a promo, put some fucking respect on this girl's name. She's been a veteran with this company for over a decade now. Okay. And, she's always been a great promo. She sold it, sold the emotion. I believed her, and the fans shit all over it. So this was my only sour point of the night, and it had nothing to do with any of the women involved in the segment. It had everything to do with, to me, the crowd not giving the segment the time and respect and reactions it deserved, and trying to hijack it from Alexa and taking the wind out of her sails, or trying to, instead of allowing her to tell them a story. That was what aggravated me. But I'm excited for this War Games match because look at the fucks who involved. And then to go on from there, unless we're holding off, we have an addition to this team. Are we holding off?
What?
Are we holding off on the addition to the team?
No.
AJ, put some respect. Skip your ass down to the mailbox and back. Motherfucking Lee was approached by Rhea Ripley. That right there is a dream I'd like to have. And she put her arms around our little short friend, Miss April Mendez, and walked her and said, hey, can I talk to you for a moment? So like we all hoped and talked about last week, AJ might be in this War Games match, which means, like I said, Becky Lynch will be on the other.
Surprise, surprise to absolutely no one. If they announce that that's what is going to end up happening, there we go. That was not surprising whatsoever. because we knew that if Becky was on one side, AJ had to be on the other. It was either AJ or Maxine, and Maxine didn't really fit the other. So there's our teams, hopefully. But I will say this. I didn't know about this spot. Shout out to my buddy William. He messaged me and he was like, hey, so this happened. I'm like, wait. Charlotte said last week she couldn't do it with Rhea there. So, huh? And then that's when he was like, oh, yeah, Charlotte came out to save Alexa. I'm like, oh, I got to go on Twitter and see that clip. So I then saw that clip. I'm like, okay, she's definitely back on that team for the sake of Alexa Bliss, in which I had a feeling that was going to end up happening because Alexa Bliss is basically the only person on this team that she would ever go, you know what? I'll go ahead and go back just for her. It was kind of like CM Punk from last year, where he was literally only on that team for Paul Heyman and her to come out of that.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling like how Mr. Blood was saying, how I kind of felt like, oh, these teams were just kind of thrown together last minute, right? And it wasn't until on SmackDown where Charlotte threw that tool wrench in there that was like, hey, nah, I'm not with this, right? I don't want to be a part of this team because of Rhea. And that's when I started getting more interested in this. I'm like, okay, now they're giving me something to care about. Now they're giving me something that I'm actually interested in. And we have what, like a whole nother week and a half before Survivor Series, right? So the one thing that they had going for me, this whole thing with Charlotte, is she going to join? Is she not? It's all done in 1 week. I just felt like they could have maybe not dragged it out a little bit more, but maybe gotten a little bit more out of it.
I agree.
To make it a little bit more interesting.
I
right?
agree. And it wasn't even a week. It's 3 days.
Oh,
like legit, like when she came out, I was surprised. I was hoping it wasn't going to be Charlotte because now that we know it's AJ, I was hoping it'd be AJ the whole time. Because I was like, oh my God, like surprise us with AJ. We got the surprise after or later in the evening. But if AJ had come out tonight, that would have been great because then, because the baby faces stood tall anyway. So let AJ run out there and then have Charlotte make amends with them on the SmackDown before Survivor Series. Let that cook a little bit more. I mean, they could be playing with us Friday. We could still get another segment where she's like, hold on, I'm not on the team. I only came back to save Alexa, but I never said I was on the team. So that's still a very large possibility that we have to look forward to, that Charlotte could still turn around and go, whoa, I ran out there to save my best friend. I never once said that I agreed to be on the team. I was just saving my girl because I was in the same city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's very possible we get that on SmackDown. So I'm not going to say that Charlotte is on the team yet because we still have 2 more SmackDowns and 1 Raw to see how that plays out.
Fair enough. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. They really did this, huh? I still can't believe it. Okay, Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree, right? And I'm like, there's no.
You muted yourself.
And I was like, there's no way, right? They wouldn't, right? They wouldn't dare even think about putting the Women's Intercontinental Championship on Maxine Dupree. And then Jessica Carr was the referee, which I thought that was interesting because of the way that, you know, their last match ended with the fast count out or whatever. And I'm like, okay, the most interesting thing to me about this match was who the referee was. That was it. And yeah, at the end, I'm not even going to say anything about the match because it's not even worth mentioning. But at the end, they surprised us with another major return in AJ Lee to cause a distraction on Becky Lynch. And I'm like, oh my God, no way. This is gonna, okay, they're gonna put the fucking title on Maxine Dupree. And I think it was like, fuck, what was it? A crossbody or something? Something hella random. The Maxine Dupree won after, the distraction. But yeah, man, new women's intercontinental champion Maxine Dupree got the win over Becky Lynch.
You're absolutely goddamn right she did. And for all the people who are going to hate on it like Snug tried to in our chat, yeah, I'm calling you out. I'm going to say it like it is, Mr. Contrarian. You are trying to build new stars and new talent. That is the entire point of matching them up with veterans. Becky has spent an entire feud with Maxine, 3 separate matches, put her over twice in ways that still protected Becky. And let's not forget, Maxine in both those first 2 matches was involved in matches where the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome," both matches, because of stuff she was doing in those matches. Let the record state that Maxine Dupree is that over with the fans that she was able to garner "This is awesome" chants for moves and moments that she created in matches with Becky Lynch 2 times before this. So for anybody who acts like Maxine doesn't have it, the crowd in attendance beg to differ because they love her. She has some kind of connection with the audience. They love how quirky she is, how awkward she is, how spunky she is. They love that about her. And you can laugh all you want and smirk, Snug. The audience don't lie when they're live in attendance. And literally, if you were ever going to put it on her, this was the time, because let's be honest, Becky has been not stale, but the title run has been stale and for a while, because when it started off, we had some interesting shit between her and Bailey and Lyra and and everything else with the heel turn and all this and that, and it was a little interesting, but they spent so much time telling that story. Then they had her falter for a while, get her involved with the mixed tag shit for several weeks where she did nothing with her title. Then they had her do nothing again and then come back, and then they got her involved in Maxine. So I'm sorry. This is the only feud she's had for that title since before August. So as far as it goes, this was literally the right call. You have to look at it this way. Maxine, is she green? Yes. Is she a newbie? Yes. But someone who's working as hard as her to get better, someone that the company clearly believes has the ability to get to where they want her to, because remember, they wouldn't put her in that spot if they didn't think she could handle it. That's the biggest thing here. This company's been around for over 50 years. They know what they're doing. They're putting it on her because they believe that she can rise to the occasion. They see the crowd connection and they go, okay. And they see how hard she's been busting her ass with Natalia in the dungeon to get better. And every time she comes out there, she looks better and looks better and looks better and gets better every single time, little by little. People will shit on her, but I would like to remind you that for the botch that she had with that leg drop tonight, let's not forget that John Cena, a 23-year-old pro doing the beats of the Balron tonight with Rey and Sheamus, didn't touch JD the 10 hits he was supposed to strike him, was floating over him and missing the entire time. So if we're gonna give it to Maxine for missing a move, let's talk about the 25-year veteran too. Maxine deserved it. It's her time to shine. They threw her in the deep end, and guess what, guys? Who would have known? The girl knows how to swim.
Surprise to absolutely no one. Becky posted on Twitter. Therefore, hence vis-a-vis, the outcome of this title match, which has clearly been rigged is hereby under protest. You will be hearing from my lawyer imminently the changing of the site. Becky complaining. It's not surprising whatsoever. But I do completely agree with Blood that this was Maxine Dupri's fucking time. If you were going to give her a belt at any time, at any place, Madison Square fucking Garden is the best damn place to do it. And there is no doubt about one of the biggest places, one of the biggest fucking arenas that is one of the most well-known arenas of all time is where you give this girl the Intercontinental title, and it's absolutely fucking deserved.
I would like to also remark that it is in fact the arena they chose to do this in, Madison Square Garden. Having her win the title there tells me just how much the company actually does believe in her to have her win the title in that venue of all venues. Because WWE has said forever, their home arena is Madison Square Garden. So to have them have her win there, that should tell you they do believe in her for a reason. And I think her naysayers owe her the chance to show them exactly what WWE themselves sees in her.
Tommy, back out and come back in, or restart your computer or something, because you're hella lagging. Boy, I don't know what the WWE sees in good old Maxine Dupri, but hey, good for her. You know, she's getting these huge moments with Becky Lynch and AJ Lee and everything every up and coming pro wrestler can never dream of, but jeez Louise. All right, moving on. We're gonna go to the second match of the night for the John Cena tournament. Javon Evans wrestled Gunther, the returning Gunther, and I didn't realize like Javon Evans is actually not that small. Like I knew he was, you know, he's not like super huge, like muscular buff, right? But standing face to face with Gunther, I made me realize that he's got some size in him, and Javon Evans is still pretty young. He's gonna fill out more as he gets older, man. But yeah, dude, this match pretty much went how we all wanted, how we all expected, with, you know, Gunther beating the crap out of Javon Evans fighting back and showing what he has and really giving Gunther a run for his money and looking like $1,000,000. And that's pretty much what happened, man. You know, I love this match, dude, because like, you know, Gunther was all over Javon Evans, and then, you know, Javon Evans throughout the entire match was just trying to create separation so he can do his thing, which is, you know, the high flying stuff and the bouncy stuff. But, you know, Gunther was trying to keep him close and, you know, keep him under his thumb so he doesn't get to fly around and do what he does best. And overall, man, I fucking love this match too, man. Javon Evans looked dope. Gunther put him on a sleeper hold, choked him out. But the people are really getting behind Javon Evans here. And Gunther advances in this John Cena tournament.
Yeah, match of the night, easily. I would like to say the crowd annoyed me again, but I blame WWE for this one. Gunther comes out, first time since I think August SummerSlam, last time we saw him against CM Punk. He had to go get nose surgery for something wrong, I believe, with his septum. And the man, for however people think about his character, this or that, the man is pound for pound one of the greatest wrestlers alive today. Fucking period. Fight me. And this man is also a two-time world heavyweight champion in the last year. World record breaking and world record holding 666-day Intercontinental Championship reign holder. They were fucking barely giving this man the time of day when he came out. And that aggravated the piss out of me. But again, I blame WWE because I bitched about this last week. You had a chance to have Gunther be one of the mystery opponents for this tournament. Now, I understand you wanted to keep Zack Ryder and Dolph a secret because it was the fun of the pop and the nice feel-good. What was wrong with a third secret fucking guy? It's Gunther, for Christ's sake. You could still have Javon in the tournament, but then Javon gets a mystery opponent. And then it's Gunther. Or you could have put Javon up against Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, or you could put him up against Zack Ryder, and you could have given either Solo or anyone else LA Knight fucking Gunther, because for me, you spoiled Gunther's surprise, which I thought would have been an epic moment, and you put him like I bitched last week, and then people ripped me apart in the comments of the video on our TikTok about what I said. Well, guess what, guys? Go fuck yourselves. I was right. I was exactly fucking right. There was no way they were going to have a returning fucking Gunther in his first match back lose to a guy from NXT. And as great as Javon is, and boy howdy is that kid 21 years young and fucking amazing, he wasn't going to win this. And they telegraphed at the moment they said that it was Gunther that was his opponent. And I bitched and said it wasn't fair because Javon should have had a better chance against anybody else. I could believe Javon might get one over on LA Knight. I definitely believe he could beat Solo. But there was no way in fuck you were going to sell me Gunther losing to Javon Evans on his first match back. And I got ripped apart in our comment section. So again, go fuck yourselves. Learn more and pay attention more about wrestling because I was right. Because I understand what I'm watching when I'm looking at it. And I saw that and I thought, man, that didn't need. So aside from the fact that you wouldn't give the TNA guys a chance, you then handicap the NXT guys too, like you always do on the main roster. Why can't NXT guys or TNA guys, why are they not afforded the opportunity to win on main roster TV? They deserve it. Javon was amazing tonight. Amazing. Amazing. He just deserved a better chance and a more believable chance against a different opponent.
I honestly thought that this match was going to end up being a whole lot fucking shorter than it was. Because holy shit. Because it went on for a pretty long time. It really did. And I thought that this was going to end up being a fucking squash match with Gunther. That's what I thought. But Javon did what Javon does best. He was sure as hell bouncy, as he always is. But there was no way he was winning this. It is a returning Gunther. There was no possible way it was going to happen.
All right. Well, we were supposed to have a face-off for the men's War Games teams, right? And this face-off turned into something way more crazier than that. First, it was the Vision, right, with Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Then CM Punk shows up. But CM Punk is outnumbered, and as soon as, shit was about to hit the fan, the Usos came out. So now we got a 4-on-3 situation. Cody comes out to even out the odds. Cody was in Madison Square Garden at Raw. So now we got a 4-on-4 situation. And then the babyface get, the upper hand on the heels. CM Punk is left in the middle of the ring standing alone after he took out Logan Paul. And then the fifth member comes out, and it was kind of expected, but we were kind of hoping for something different, for someone else other than this person, even though it does make a lot of sense. But it was Brock Lesnar. So kind of like the same situation with the whole AJ Lee thing. When you have AJ Lee, you kind of already know who the other side is going to be, Becky Lynch. So as soon as Brock Lesnar came out, the people automatically started chanting OTC, OTC. Because now that it's Brock, now that we know that it's going to be Brock, the only other guy to make shit even for the baby faces has to be Roman Reigns. And they try to play us again. They try to run the what is it called? The fucking subtitles on Netflix, when they're about to go off the air. But I'm like, nah, man, I'm not falling for that shit again. And fucking Roman Reigns music hits. He's back. Now we have the teams all full. Now they're even. We got a 5-on-5. And all hell breaks loose, man. Fucking security guards, quote unquote, NYPD came out also. And this was crazy, dude. I mean, this kind of feels like, has there ever been a fucking War Games this star-studded before? This is fucking crazy.
Yeah, the face-off was... I was hoping there were going to be words between them, like a full-blown, Captain America Civil War-esque poster. They all stand, one opponent each across from each other in the ring, whom they have the most beef with. I thought that'd be a cool visual. But honestly, Brock was completely expected, at least for me, because the moment Paul Heyman was talking to Adam Pearce and backstage and Nick or whatever, Nick Aldis, the way he laughed and said, "You're gonna hate this," I was like, it's fucking Brock. It's Brock. And when Brock came out and he fucking, god damn, he overhead freaking German suplexed, or no, belly to back suplexed Punk twice. At first I got worried that Punk got hurt the way he landed on his arm the first time. I was like, oh god, not the tricep again, please stop. And then he did it again. And then Cody came out and then he did it to Cody. And at first they looked at each other almost with respect for the last time they faced. Because remember, the last time they faced each other in a ring, Brock Lesnar shook Cody's hand and hugged him at the end of their feud. And I thought there was going to be a bit of respect. Maybe Brock wasn't going to attack Cody, but Cody jumped on boy first. I was like, oh shit. So then we think, okay, well, it's all done. Brock's destroyed everybody. Copyright logo pops up and he's cheesing at the camera. But then I was like, that copyright logo, that's been there. That's sitting there a little too long. And then the moment it faded and Brock walked over to the ropes, I was like, oh, this shit ain't over, because that copyright logo's gone, but the camera's still on him. And all of a sudden, gong, gong, gong. I was like, yeah, he's back. But then I got worried, because then I see Roman Reigns come out with an athletic neoprene sleeve on. And I thought, he's not injured, is he? And then I was like, okay, well, I'm hoping he's not injured, because he's never worn that before ever. And you only wear that compression shit if you got a muscle ache or something's wrong or you're working out. And I'm like, well, maybe he just got new tattoo work done or touch-ups or something. I'm hoping. So I'm hoping he's not hurt or anything. But then we get the Party City Police. And because I've seen cops in New York. I ain't never seen New York fucking cops with outfits that clean, that pressed, that blue, that baggy, and unfucking fitting to their bodies. That was some Halloween Party City clearance shit.
Some Reno 911 shit.
I was like, the fuck is this? I was like, that's some TikTok police uniforms. And they got speared for their troubles through the barricade with Bronson Reed. And it went off. And again, I love how star-studded this is. We have never had one that's star-studded, but I have to say something that I think a lot of people aren't really thinking about, that I think will make a lot of sense when I say it. I almost don't want Roman or Brock involved. And that is because, one, I fucking hate Brock because of the Janelle Grant shit that I do not believe he's innocent of, and it's not even over yet. He's still on their radar. But two, the Vision story was supposed to be about building Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. You have now put the two of the biggest box office attractions in WWE history in that of Brock Lesnar on his team and Roman Reigns in opposition, known for his spear much more than Braun Breaker is for his. And I am worried that the addition of Braun Breaker and the addition of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, I am worried that their additions is only going to be a subtraction to him. I am worried that they are going to overshadow him. And I really, really, really hope WWE has a creative way around that in the match that makes sure that the spotlight stays on him, because the purpose should be trying to build him up and not make him a background player to veterans and legends.
God, I was hoping it wasn't Brock. I was really, really, really hoping that it was not Brock Lesnar. And what I really wanted to hear out of this, A-Town down. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear a returning Austin Theory. Because come on, imagine the pop from this. It would have been loud as all hell. But unfortunately, it's Brock Lesnar. Oh, God. Here we go. Brock is Brock. That's the problem. And I believe the last time that Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns faced, Blood, correct me if I'm wrong, was the tractor thing, correct?
Yes.
Was it the whole tractor under the ring thing?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that's where I'm a little bit worried here. Because of that, these two have not faced in God knows how long. It has been that damn long. It was before, like, that was the match that gave Roman the title of undisputed WWE champion. It was that match there. So I'm a little bit worried about it just because of the fact that it's Brock. But we will see how this goes in the cage. I do love the fact that the only thing that Roman had to do to Brock was Superman punch him right out of the ring, and that was it.
I would like to note, too, about the Austin Theory thing before we get out of here. I think he's back, because I swear I saw a few days ago a clip on TikTok of Austin Theory wrestling on Main Event against Ludwig Kaiser's El Grande Americano.
What? No. I would have seen that.
Swear to God, on Main Event, I saw Austin Theory or someone who looked exactly like him, same haircut, same beard, same shoulders, wrestling El Grande Americano on Main Event. I swear to God, I saw it like 4 days ago on TikTok. And it was Ludwig's El Grande. His body type, his height, because the crowd was going crazy for Ludwig, putting him in a head-standing headlock and then clapping with his legs while he was doing a handstand. And it was Austin Theory that he was in the ring against. Is that
I'm
correct,
looking it up
Tommy?
right now.
Am I right, Tommy? Tommy's nodding.
So I literally just looked it up. He's telling the fucking truth here. And El Grande Americano beat Austin Theory.
Yes, it was on Main Event. And keep in mind, El Grande Americano was not Ludwig before Austin Theory went out on injury.
The one that I'm seeing is from back in July at a Main Event.
Is that back in July? Well, Austin's been out longer than that.
Yeah, it was back in July.
That's the thing. So why haven't they brought him back onto the main? Because literally he was injured before July, as far as I'm aware. And
yeah,
the 8 Pound Down Under stuff stopped like before Mania.
Yeah, he's been gone way before July for sure. But yeah, that was his last match. Let me see.
So I wonder what made them change direction with what they were planning on doing with him.
the last few times I remember seeing Austin Theory when he was having matches in dark matches, the people were cheering for him way too much, like to the
Yeah.
point where he wasn't even wrestling or he wasn't even in the match and he was getting cheered.
Because they wanted him to turn on Grayson. Like they had that whole story with them and DIY where they were trying to break him free of Grayson.
Austin Theory's last match was July 12th, 2025, during the taping of WWE Main Event in Birmingham, Alabama, where he lost to El Grande Americano.
So that was his last match. Okay, then. So I'm surprised it just randomly resurfaced on TikTok. Okay, so I digress. So that was his last match. So it's like, but apparently he's cleared. So it's like, dude, where is he? Because honestly, it would have been much better if he was a part of this and not Brock. Or just keep Brock and Roman out of it because they're going to overshadow Braun Breaker if they're not careful.
Is it possible that the WWE realized, like, oh shit, we got something here with him now? People are asking for him. Let's keep him away so they miss him more, and we'll bring him back with some good shit, something actually worth.
They might be
you know?
They might be repackaging him. It's possible.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, Austin, I've said this before we close out. I've said this before. Austin has the ability, in my opinion, to be a very strong babyface. And I could see him being a babyface of this generation that they build up to stand against Braun Breaker if they do it correctly. So, and he's a disciple of John Cena. So it's like, he has the tools. The crowd already loves him. He's got the moves and the in-ring ability and the look. So why not? He's also got the mic skills. So I'm hoping they repackage him. But I was really hoping he'd have been involved here more than Brock if they were going to do it at all.
Tommy, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Just the fact that he's been gone for over a year now. His last televised appearance, September of last year. He's been gone for a year and 2 months at this point.
Yeah, off TV.
So at this point right now, as I already said, I wish Brock was out and Theory was in. I honestly wish that they would have done what they did with Randy Orton last year, where they hinted at it, didn't even have him enter the shark cage at all, and had his return being his starting entrance going into the cage itself. That's what I wished they would have done with Austin Theory here.
Well, the good news is they haven't released him. So that means they have plans for him because they're releasing anybody that they can. If they haven't released him yet after all this time, they clearly have something in mind for him. And I think that's a good thing. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's hope we see. If anything, they might be waiting for him to, oh, fuck. What if the heels win at War Games and it's because they re-debut him at War Games and he does something to get into the cage and fucks the baby faces.
Oh, that would be fucking cool.
And then he re-debuts with the Vision as the third man in the group.
That would be fucking cool, man.
Yep.
Damn. You couldn't save that for predictions?
I'll bring it back up, but I just want to say if anybody else thought about it.
All right, let's get the fuck up out of here. That was a Monday Night Raw review with the Snug Wrestling Crew. Take us home, Blood.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Snug Wrestling. Thanks for kicking it with us. We appreciate every single one of you for tuning in, as always. Don't forget, we're live every Monday and Friday night after Raw and SmackDown go off the air on YouTube, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, and Facebook for live post-show reviews. And as a bonus for reaction content during the weekly WWE broadcast on all of our socials, then hang out with us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific on TikTok Live, where myself, Mr. Blood, and that handsome Mexican over there, Edgar, do our weekly one-on-ones where we dive into random wrestling topics and answer your fan questions live. So follow Snug Wrestling on all social media platforms as well as on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And some news here, guys, before we go. Mark your calendars for next week on Wednesday, I believe the 26th. of November for Survivor Series War Games predictions at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget to check out aquila.la for 10% off any order of your sunglasses using the code SNUG, SNUG, at checkout. And if you want to hit up our merch store at tpublic.com/Snug Wrestling, or click the link on any of our socials or our Apple and Spotify and check out our wrestling merch, which is currently at a 30% off sale store wide. So check that out and support your wrestling podcast, Snug Wrestling, your favorite podcast, that is. And remember, until next time, to stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. And you know what? For the launch of those 21 beautiful designs on our TeePublic, I think that was one time for the one time. I say 4 letters, 1 word.
One word. Oh. Yeet.
Maxine Dupree sucks.
Fuck you.